Why pursue a relationship and risk getting hurt? That question I got from a girl this week. And it was actually a very good question because I realize in the time we live in, so many people get hurt in relationships. And I actually know for sure that everyone has at least one bad example of this, right? And I thought about the question, and then I had to answer her. And I think there's some beauty in the risk, and that maybe sounds weird, but there's no way to prepare somebody for a relationship with zero risk. I don't think it exists. I don't think it's possible. But if we find somebody and we're willing to take that risk, it's funny how I read this book on falling in love from Dr. Amen, a guy that scans brains. He actually talks about the three phases of neurological love, and I will put them down under the video so you can see them. And if you look at those, the second one, it talks about how you become obsessive and you're so in love that you don't really think anymore. And I actually think the brain has that because God knew, like, if we don't get them to that point, they never get married. But the answer I gave her was, look, I can't promise you, sorry for the smoke, but I'm making barbecue. I can't promise you a safe, perfect relationship. I don't think that is a possibility to make sure 100% before you ever start that it's going to be perfect. But I think if you talk with people like me, I'm 47, I have 6 children, married more than 20 years. And even last week, a friend of mine was here. He's 83, married more than 60 years. If you would ask him or me, was it worth the risk? We both would say yes. Because looking back, I of course had difficult times in our marriage and things happen, but we have 6 amazing children. I love family. Now it's Sunday. We try to barbecue every Sunday here in Paraguay, enjoy some good steak. And but being with my family is actually pretty epic. And I'm able to spend that time with them, and I love having kids. And of course, there was a risk when I married. I actually married with an amazing Brazilian woman when we didn't speak the same language. And that was kind of hard, but we learned to communicate. We actually had to work to communicate instead of just talking about all kinds of nonsense. But it ended up being absolutely amazing, and I love being married. I love the fact of having a family. I think this is the most amazing thing God gave to us humans, is to be able to have a family. And I would say to the girl, like I did, I said, hey, it's totally worth the risk. But I would be careful and would think about who I get married. If you go fish in a pond with catfish, you're gonna fish catfish. And if you put certain bait on your rod, you're gonna catch what you're fishing for. And in that sense, I think you need to think about this. As a girl, you need to think like, what kind of guy do I want to catch? And then you need to fish where those men are available, and you need to make sure that you have the right bait, because sometimes you offer the wrong bait and you get the wrong fish, and then you got a problem. I know this sounds very manly to a woman advice, but hey, that's who I am. But yeah, I think it's worth the risk, but I don't know the secret of not having the risk. One of the things I always tell people, and for me personally, that's how I did it, and is make sure you have some people pray with you. And maybe you're not a Christian, or maybe you don't believe in that, but for me that gave a lot of security. And I tell people, have 3 people pray that are not emotionally connected. So not your mom, her mom, or his mom, or whatever. No, you have 3 individual people that are not emotionally connected, that that can hear the voice of God, and ask them, hey, would you pray for me? And whatever answer you get, you give. Because when you're in that phase that you're totally in love and you can't really hear God, and this will help, because I made the decision, if I get 3 or 2 no's from those people, then I'm gonna trust them over over my own feelings, because feelings are not always the best thing to trust. And so that was how I did it, and ended up working out fantastic. And I think that relationships are totally worth it to build a family and actually enjoy it, because if you don't have a family, you don't have people. When you get older, who do you have? You're kind of alone in the world, and that would be really sad. I think loneliness is one of the worst things that exist. And so, yeah, my answer is, look, I don't know the secret to make sure there's zero risk. I don't think it exists. I think there's kind of some beauty in the risk. But if you choose the right person, fish in the right area, fish with the right bait, and you actually ask people to hear God's voice for you and with you, and you seek counsel, I think putting that all together, it creates a safeguard, especially the hearing of God. And then you step into something that's absolutely amazing, because there's nothing better than being married and having a family. And now for the rest of life, you have people around you that love you, that champion you, and you can pour everything from yourself in them, and it's such a joy. So thanks for watching, and I hope I see you next week.